And again, welcome to Bit Depth. I'm Santiago Ramones. I'm here with Solstice Cosplay, although I am a part of Solstice Cosplay. There's Maddie. Say hi.
Hi.
Megan.
Hello.
Who's been on here already. And Sable.
Hi.
Who's also been on here already. One of you describe Solstice Cosplay.
One of us described
Yeah. Megan, go for it.
Well, it started when two of us were doing a skit and we needed a name really quickly, and so we came up with Solstice. Cosplay inspired from Avatar: The Last Airbender, which is a group favorite show, and then it just kind of evolved from there. Mm-hmm. So, I don't know if that was a very good description.
No, it's fine. Yeah, we've been doing skits for the past 3-4 years. Although, was the Final Fantasy one not under Solstice Cosplay?
Not technically, but I count it.
Yeah.
That was 2012.
That was 2012.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We weren't named that yet.
Yeah. But yeah, and so for the past few years, we've won awards at Tokyo and Tulsa. Mm-hmm. So, at least to start, how did we get started in cosplay?
Oh, man. Somebody else go first.
I remember, I think the furthest I remember I started was 2004, I think was one photo I had dated back. So that was like 8th grade for me, and I started with Witch Hunter Robin, and my mother helped me make the dress because I didn't know how to sew at the time, nor did I have the patience to do it.
I still don't have the patience sometimes.
I remember that, and also the con that myself and two of my friends went to was like at a Motel 6 in a lobby. That was literally baby con.
A little bit shady.
A little bit.
Shady baby con.
Yeah. So, I forgot the location of the Motel 6. I think we actually drove past it once, and I said, like, hey, I recognize that, and I was like, wait a minute.
But why?
Yeah, so that was, like, the very first one. And then I remember there was one that I think was, like, similar to Tokyo and Tulsa, but it wasn't Tokyo and Tulsa then. Because that was one that my friends and I actually went to the location that it's at now, but it wasn't there. It was, like, some other random place.
Yeah, a lot of cons when they got started always start in, like, weird venues.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Either hotel rooms or very small convention center rooms or gyms at schools.
Yeah.
What was your first cosplay stuff?
So, me and Cheryl, who is also part of this group, but she couldn't be here today, she invited me to go to Tokyo and Tulsa in 2008. And we just thought it was going to be like this like day thing, but it lasted a whole day, and we didn't realize it was a whole weekend. We just thought it was going to go on till like 3 or 4 in the afternoon, and then it was done.
Yeah.
So we saw the people walking around in cosplay, and then we realized, hey, there's another one in November, which was a ZumiCon. Mm-hmm. So we dressed up together then, and she made Toru from Fruits Basket. I made Kagura from Fruits Basket, and it was super thrown together. She had to have her mom help her sew hers. I completely bought mine. And we ran around in cosplay all day.
Oh, you're one of those plebs that buys their cosplay.
I don't care. As long as it's a fun costume, that's what matters.
We do it now anyways.
Yeah. Well, if I can buy it and modify, that's easier.
Yes. It is. It saves time.
Yes.
Maddie?
I guess I was in cosplay before, but really didn't know the term cosplay. Mm-hmm. I can remember in middle school having a Sailor Moon outfit made for me, and I would wear that thing out. Mm-hmm. But also, I made, like, a Dio-chan from Dynasty Warriors out of just, like, random stuff.
I didn't know that.
Like, I'm pretty sure one of them was, like, a nightgown that I shredded.
Oh, nice.
And, like, those bubble shirts from the 90s.
Oh, my gosh.
It was awful.
I want pictures.
Right? But I wasn't really introduced to the con scene till, like, 2010?
Yeah, that's when you went with us to ZumiCon.
No, I went to Tokyo and Tulsa first.
Oh, you went to Tokyo and Tulsa first. Just
Yeah.
kidding. You're right.
Is that with your cat tour?
Cactuar was...
I didn't cosplay my first con.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I just...
But you
was
did
a normal person.
You did it as a con.
Yeah.
You're never a normal person if you just go to a con.
My first cosplay was Ash Ketchum, actually.
That was at Tokyo and Tulsa.
No, I was at AzumiCon.
No, it was Tokyo and Tulsa, 2011, right?
Mm-mm. We went to AzumiCon first. It was in Midwest City.
Was that before we met everybody?
Yeah, that was you and I, and
and Lex.
And Lex.
Yeah. That's right.
Yeah.
Because you were sick that time.
Yeah,
too.
I was sick, and we
had to take you back.
But that was still my first cosplay experience.
That was 2009 or 10?
Yeah, that was my freshman year.
Okay.
Luckily for me, my years of grade school aligned with the years. So 9th grade is 2009.
Oh, nice.
10th grade is 2010.
Easy
yeah.
remembering.
Yeah. I'm also a child.
I was just well, I graduated in 2009.
Yeah. So. But yeah. Anime conventions. Why anime? Yeah, because I've never really been that big on anime. I watched Yu-Gi-Oh in 2nd grade, but who didn't?
You have to start somewhere. It's funny because I would say I wasn't either. For a while I was, and then I got out of it because I just didn't have time. I couldn't really put time to keep up with it. So I just now recently got back into it as of, I would say, 2013-ish, but more so last year onward. Mm-hmm. So... But I think it was just because anime conventions were the only thing that were coming here for a while.
Yeah.
That was what we wanted to go to.
That is the only thing that's really around here. We're just now getting we're just now getting Comic Cons. Now we have one in Tulsa. We've had Sooner Con, but even
the one time that you and I went, it was pretty.
That was really
lame.
small.
Yeah.
That got us into D&D, but yeah, it was really, really small.
That's probably all there was to do there.
Well, it wasn't the normal conventions that we had all gone to. It was at the Sherrington downtown, where AzumiCon is now, basically, right next to the Cox Center. So we went in with a friend of ours. We paid $25 to get in, and we went in. We were just
what do I do?
What is this? Yeah. We literally John Travolta it.
Yeah.
Just
but the dealer's room had a lot of tabletop gaming
yeah.
stuff, and so he was oh man, I need to do D&D again, and so we did D&D again.
Yeah, that lasted for a year.
But
ish.
You were super into anime.
I was introduced to it, I think 7th or 8th grade. It was whenever I met my friends Annie and Lex, who were both heavily into anime. It was through Yu-Gi-Oh that I actually became friends with Annie because I saw her at the Yu-Gi-Oh movie and I was like, hey, I recognize her.
Oh
and
my
then
gosh.
The next day when we were in band
Yu-Gi-Oh
class
movie.
together, I was like, hey, I have this card. Do you want to trade?
Okay, funny story, quick side note. Me and
Yes.
Cheryl went to the Yu-Gi-Oh movie together, and we were the only girls our age there.
Oh, no.
We were also, they were looking for the kids we were supposed to be babysitting or something, because all of them were like, why are you guys here? But because it was a bunch of preteen boys. Anyway,
Yeah.
continue.
And later in 8th grade, I got introduced to Lex, and then she introduced me to manga, and that's where I learned about cosplay and the term of it. And from then on, it just
Downhill spiral.
explosion of anime. I remember heavily being into Full Metal Alchemist, Inuyasha, Yu-Gi-Oh. I was into Pokemon for a while, and then I lost track of it. Naruto for a good while. Bleach, Death Note.
Cowboy Bebop. Did you say that one?
No, I actually got into that one way later. I think those were the main ones I remember. I was trying to look over where all my DVDs are, but then I'm like, oh, right, I
Prince
sold
of
the
Egypt is best anime. That's what got me started.
Oh my gosh, yes. I did remember watching Fruits Basket, but I didn't stay into that.
Uh,
I had more of the manga, but then, like, of course, all of that, like, piled up, and then I got rid of it.
Yeah.
Manga's so good.
Ouran Host Club, obviously, was, like, a really good one. I remember the manga when it started. Code Geass later. And then, like, by the time I got into college, that's when I kind of stopped.
Yeah.
Because then I was like,
Yeah.
I
That's
feel
when
like I need to
anime
grow
stopped
up.
for me. Now we're like right back at the beginning.
Trash.
Maddie, what was your weeb experience?
Oh, I huge weeb. And I'm gonna sound so old, but my first anime experience was
You're older than us.
1997.
Oh man. So you're the true weeb.
Probably. I can remember
come
coming
on.
home from like second grade and like catching Sailor Moon right after
Yes.
school on Toonami.
That too, yes.
I never
Oh,
got into
Sailor
Sailor
Moon.
Moon. I mean, I got into Sailor Moon way later, but
And it was very distraught when Hamtaro took over its slot. And it never came back on.
were you always bitter about Hamtaro?
Yes.
And hamsters? So anytime you saw a
Triggered.
hamster, you're like, screw this thing.
But, I mean, I watched all the Toonami stuff, like Inuyasha, Rurouni Kenshin,
Yes.
Dragon Ball Z.
It's interesting how, I mean, I'm not trying to like gender stereotype, but all of us were girls and we were mostly into the shonen stuff. I guess except some Sailor Moon. That's how I was. I guess it's because I was a tomboy.
Well, I mean, Sailor Moon was like
Still pretty.
the first magical girl.
Yeah.
That was really big, yeah.
Girly.
I remember Tenchi Muyo as well.
Oh,
That
yeah.
was-
I remember that.
The original harem anime.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
Yikes.
Yeah, my anime experience wasn't very, I mean, like I said, just like Yu-Gi-Oh! In like elementary school, but like then I did like some Naruto
Yes.
in middle school.
Did you have a headband?
No.
I did.
Uh,
I had the
Oh,
music note one.
You were that
Yeah.
kid.
I was that kid. I
Yay.
didn't wear
Yeah.
it, but I had it. It's probably still somewhere here in my house.
Oh,
No,
man.
my friend
Somewhere.
Will was the one who, like, he was just a wonderfully bad influence on me. But it was great because I got, like, my like, teenage rebellion out with him, so. But, yeah, I got, like, into Naruto through him and stuff, but that was really the only thing.
Excellent.
And I remember, like, trying to watch it, but never actually really enjoying it.
You're just like, I feel like this is something I should like.
Yeah,
Just
I want to fit in or something, but
Ironically, trying to fit in by watching anime
Yeah.
back then.
but no, I don't know. Plus, I did know about like the crazy people that would wear like the Akatsuki robes to school,
Oh, my gosh.
and so I never
We
wanted
had
to
a few of
be
those.
that person.
We all knew that guy, though.
No, mine was a girl.
Yeah.
Oh, really? I think we had
I don't think I knew anyone.
You
like
didn't?
that. I kind of dropped out of the anime stuff in high school.
We had an anime club. At least started by the time I was a junior.
We attempted one, and it was awful. It was awkward.
Yeah.
Like,
I think our
three
teachers...
people, me and Cheryl and someone else.
Aw.
And then we were just like, let's stop.
Yeah. And all the teachers were just like...
Who's the kid in Hey Arnold that's always like right there? Is like.
Oh, I don't
Yes.
remember his name, but that's like every...
I feel like that's
yeah.
who that third
Just
kid
put one
was
of those
in your
like
anime
robes on.
club.
Yeah, probably. So that's why we stopped.
It's not Curly. Oh, God. What's his name?
It's okay.
Oh, that's going to bug me now. It'll probably come back like 20 minutes later, I know.
Yeah.
Just look it up on my phone.
But,
I always look up stuff. When it's...
Cartoons, at least, have always been important to me. I mean, Cheryl and I can just quote SpongeBob just like on a whole. Just we can just go back and forth and just do all of
SpongeBob
SpongeBob.
quote right now. Put on spot.
It's not a boulder. It's a rock. A rock.
There you go.
There you go.
That wasn't your bet. I'm just kidding. That's fine.
SpongeBob quote. You just asked for a SpongeBob
I
quote.
know.
You always do the one from the chocolate episode, though.
What?
The, hey, Ma. And then you always... It's the woman in the
smoker?
wheelchair. Yeah.
Oh, Hey, they're selling chocolate. What? What did he say? Chocolate. Yeah, chocolate. I don't know. It's inaccurate.
I love
but
how an
still,
anime
it's-
conversation turned into SpongeBob.
Yeah,
That
it's-
always seems to happen.
Only in our
everything.
group.
But at least the merger in between, and as we mentioned, like the Avatar is the like good in between from being an anime and being a cartoon, and that the anime people will be like, that's not an anime, and the cartoon people will be like, that's not a cartoon.
But it's like so much better than a lot of anime out there.
yeah.
Everybody would agree with that.
Brainy, by the way.
Brainy. That's the kid that breathes heavy?
Yeah. Specifically said
Such name.
Right. It specifically said Helga's stalker.
Oh,
Yeah.
this time. Oh, right!
Yeah.
He was
Okay.
always like behind him.
But what was it about Avatar that like just set it apart from all other cartoons and all other anime at least?
I'm not stepping on a soapbox, but
Do it.
I
Do
would
it.
definitely say the more female roles.
Yes.
Yes.
But within that, there were a variety
Of female.
of female roles.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So you had like Azula, who is Overlord, and you had Katara, who is motherly but still like strong.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't think there were any
You had-
like weak.
Ty Lee, who was bubbly and like vulnerable. You had Suki, who was like hardcore and like not like regal's not the word I'm looking for, but like composed.
She's kind of like the teenager you wanted to be friends with.
Yeah.
Like if you were a little kid, you're like, oh my gosh, I want to be friends with her.
right.
Mhm.
Like, and then all the male roles were really good too. But
Mhm.
I think you're right. Just being a female like myself, having those kind of like role models, I guess, in a show, even if they were like technically younger than you, just seeing all these awesome female characters was like really inspiring. Because a lot of like other shows don't really have that with that much depth to their characters, and a lot of anime can like have some of that, but a lot of times they'll like objectify them or whatever. Avatar
Yeah.
didn't really do that because it was a kids show, so they kind of had to play within like the story more, not like fan servicey things or whatever. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
anime treads into that territory a lot, but Avatar was just this pure whole story that was just wonderful.
Well, I mean, did anime have that back then? Because Avatar came out 2001, right? Like,
I think it was 2005
oh, okay,
because it ended in 08.
that's right.
I think
So, like,
yeah.
was anime very kind of
I mean-
like as it is now? Where
I mean,
it's
Yes,
just-
yeah,
I mean-
yeah.
Because
I
I
just
barely
finished
remember.
watching Cowboy Bebop, and
Well, that
yes.
was-
Faye.
yeah. Well, okay, like what you and I had discussed, like, yes, she is a very voluptuous character.
But she's still a good character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they don't overdo it like they do with characters now, where it's like purposely like press the boobs together or like
No.
panty shot. Like with her, it's like she is sexy, but she will like chop your head
The
off.
thing
or
about
something.
Faye is that she was just kind of like always wearing like short shorts and a crop top, and like yeah, her boobs were kind of like halfway out, but at the same time, she never acted like it.
Mm-hmm.
She was just a female trying to retrace her memories, and so it was never really about like other characters were like, this chick over here or whatever, and she was like, no, I'll kick your ass. Like,
Yeah.
Well, and probably then they didn't add extra animations to certain body parts like
Yeah.
they do now.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, because nowadays it's
Ugh.
because it's such a booming market. There are shows that are purely made to be advertising for their merchandising, or there's stuff in shows that are put in there purely for the fact that they can sell a figure based off that, you know,
Yeah.
30-second sequence in an episode.
Yeah.
And there's some really great anime out there that have these moments of fan service that you're like, why did they do that? And it was probably because they're trying to sell it to a certain market and then be able to sell merchandise from it, like figures. Because that's what, like, sales or sinks anime in Japan, at least, is the sales outside of just the show.
Yeah. And I also was noticing that as you were describing characters in Avatar, I noticed like how we do have our parallels to the characters ourselves, and the characters that we cosplayed. So I mean, I was Sokka, and name your things.
I was Suki. At least Fire Nation Suki. I still want to do Kyoshi at some point, like Kyoshi Warrior Suki. I still want to do UA. That's like in the works, hopefully.
Yeah, well, you got the wig, you should.
I got the wig. I gotta do it.
Like, you
I
better
gotta
do it.
I got all that fur. I gotta do it.
I just wear this normally. I'm not gonna do it.
I just feel like being completely white today.
Yeah.
You know, why not?
One of my first cosplays was Katara,
Mhm.
and I bought it completely and used my natural hair, but it was really fun to wear. So.
You've only done Katara. No, you did Korra. Well, I guess we're
Well,
strictly Avatar.
strictly
Strictly.
ATLA, Maddie.
I did Azula, I did June, and I would like to do Toph.
Yeah.
Yes.
But
You
and-
almost did Aang before we met everybody. You and
Yeah.
I were gonna do Aang and Zuko.
Yeah, we were.
You did
We like
Zuko?
still
I
have
did
like
female Zuko.
We
Okay,
still
I
have,
did
like, the-
Zuko.
like unfinished fabric somewhere.
It's probably.
You are
upstairs.
missing Aang,
I mean, I don't want to shave my head again.
No.
but then we'd be missing Sokka.
yeah. Well, we already kind of have an Aang. Matt.
Yeah,
He's
Yeah.
that's true.
He's done Aang
That's true. Once.
twice, I think.
Um,
At a con
yeah.
and then a photo shoot.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Um.
And then Cheryl did Ty Lee.
Mm-hmm.
And then we singularly, that's not a word. We met one of our friends
Yes.
solely through Avatar cosplay,
Mhm.
which was Ariane when she cosplayed May.
Yeah.
So
And you said that Cheryl ran up to her as Ty Lee
Yeah.
and like hugged her.
it was great because like Maddie was Azula, Cheryl was Ty Lee, I was Katara, and then Zuko was Ethan. Ethan was Zuko, and we were all talking earlier about how we just need a May, and we'd have like a complete Fire Nation group, and we walk in to prejudging in the morning just to check it out because we also had to go on as like a walk on, and literally Ariane was standing there in all of her May glory on the stage, and I think we all just like freaked out a little bit.
We probably gasped
Yeah, we were like, "What?"
and yelled,
Yeah,
knowing
And-
us.
Yeah, and ever since then, it was just like now we see her multiple times throughout the year if we can, because she lives in Arkansas.
Yeah.
We'll see her at cons. She'll come down here. So
We'll go up there.
Avatar literally brought us all together.
Yeah.
And wasn't that also the same year that we met Anna? And she was Kyoshi Warriors.
I think so. Yeah, Anna kind of assimilated a little more slowly because I've always known of her before, but I can't mark the exact moment when I got really close with her. It just kind of
Akon?
happened.
Akon.
2012.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think,
That was
didn't she come, like, with Andrew? Or,
2011. That must have been it.
yeah, that was our first Akon.
So it was our first Akon. That was
Okay.
BS.
Yes.
Which, by the way, stands for Before Sable and Santiago.
Oh.
Yes.
Did you not know that?
No, I didn't.
Now
Oh.
you know.
Well, I
The
mean,
more you know.
it's funny because it's like, you know,
Yeah.
BS and actual B. Anyway.
Yes. So, I mean, cosplay has been getting more popular lately.
Yeah.
So, at least to why cosplay?
I think it gives people like a form of escapism that is like putting themselves out there, but also still hiding, in not a bad way.
Mm-hmm.
But it's also just really creative and fun, very interactive. You can go as much into it as you want.
Yeah, because some of my favorite like cosplays that I have done or want to do are less so because of the costume itself, but more because of the character that I want to become the character. And so like that whenever I have been a certain character in the costume, I like take the form. And so if there's like if it's a funny character, I'll be more like funny and outgoing, and if it's like a quiet brooding character, I'll be quiet and brooding.
Like when you were Noctis.
Yeah.
Emo boy.
Yeah.
Sad boy.
Or even just Levi recently.
Yeah.
True. Yeah, that's like very opposite of your personality, I would say.
But at least for me, that I always enjoy taking the role of the characters that I, either really relate to, or at least is more like a method acting experiment, I guess, that like just I want to become this other person that I'm, hardly like.
Yeah. I think that's the charm for a lot of people, for sure. And then there's some people that are just extremely good craftsmen and artisans, so they can make these insane costumes, and it may not be of a specific character, but it shows off the craft part of it
Yeah.
the most.
And I mean, also people don't have to make like the most elaborate, intricate
Yeah.
stuff, but like just to make something is great. I mean, Maddie seems to make like a whole bunch of stuff, and
Oops.
You whip them
Apologize.
out like no
Post
other.
this crazy wig picture, like, hi guys!
Check out my nurse joy wig.
Right? Like, full cosplay done, actual Chansey in the room.
Oh my god, yes.
but I mean, like, why do you feel like it? Among other things to do.
I just like dressing up. Like, that's enough reason.
Yeah. Because you like dressing up for other things than just cosplay, too.
Yeah, I mean, if I could, I'd wear colorful wigs every day, but
Shave your head.
my line of work doesn't
Oh, true.
allow that.
Yeah.
You can't dress up as Nurse Joy to be a nurse.
No.
Aw, it'd be fun though.
Pink scrubs.
I guess
Aw.
not that I'm like, ooh, I like everyone's reaction to what I'm doing, but like,
Oh, yeah.
kind of like the character bringing it alive for other people and seeing like, not like their child. Like, okay, for instance, when I see something like Sailor Moon, because I'm a crazy Moonie, and like I'm like, oh my gosh, let me get a picture of you. I love you so much.
Yeah.
You know, kind of like that reaction.
You want to deliver that. I mean, I think
Yeah.
every person that's done cosplay ever is a liar if they say they don't like that kind of
attention.
positive
Oh, yeah,
attention.
yeah.
Yeah, like you can't be like, I'm so humble. I mean, you can be humble, but you know you like the attention to an extent. I mean, I do because I like that kind of
Yeah.
reaction a lot.
Well, it's kind of like, you know, how little girls idolize
Yeah.
the princesses at Disney Park, and like
Mhm.
that reaction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And for those of you that have done Disney princesses, like Sable, you've had the experience of just like a little girl walking up to you and
When you were
What?
Tinkerbell.
Yeah, I think each of us definitely have. I've been Tinkerbell, I've been Merida. I haven't done Briar Rose at a con.
You did it at
Or did
TNT,
That was
but
like
that's
on
when
a
we had the
Sunday.
table and you
Yeah.
were sitting at the table
That's right.
most of the time. Yeah.
I think that was all that I've done so far of Disney. But yeah, like, those have probably always been my favorite experiences, is when, like, the kids just, especially, like, the little girls are just like, you're real, you know?
Magic.
Like, I've always expressed, like, I really love it. Like, I know working at Disney, like, at the store, like, here in our hometown, like, talking to one of my coworkers, he didn't really like that people did it. I think he didn't like that people were doing parties because
Oh, yeah.
Disney's losing money.
Getting money.
But, like-
Disney does not have to worry about losing money.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, but like, I get that part, but it's like whenever we dress up as Disney princesses and we go to a con and there's like the little kids that are being brought in by their folks, it's like, I love those moments when the kids can see us or anyone else who's a Disney cosplayer, because it seems more magical to them, because you know you can only really see them at the parks. Well, not everyone can go there. And so, like, there was a little girl, I remember when I was Merida, and I remember, like, she wanted a picture, and I, like, immediately, like, started talking, like, to her the best I could, and she was, like, intrigued by the bow, which Ethan made, and I just carved into, and, like, her parents were even really into it, and it's just, like, I want to have this be a memory for her to always hang on to, being
Exactly.
like, Merida is real. Or, like, I think it was that same con when Anna was Cinderella,
Yeah.
you were Ariel, and there was another girl outside, and Anna and I were trying to find you, so that way the little girl could have all the princesses. And, like, her mom, I remember, was just talking to me because Anna was leading her around, and I was, like, explaining, like, yeah, like, we love doing this kind of stuff, like, just getting to dress up, and it's really fun to do this, and we had, like, really no experience at all, but it's just fun, you know, and she was really into it, and it's just, like, I love those kind of moments when you kind of get to create magic, because I know not all kids are going to know anime,
But they'll know.
Disney.
Disney, yeah.
Or, like, now there's, like, the superhero ones where the kids will be like, oh, it's Spider-Man, you know,
Yeah.
or something, you know. Like, what about you guys being Disney princesses?
Oh, yeah, that's like the best feeling when you're like. Because you got that as Belle, too, right?
Mm-hmm.
When we dressed as Ariel and Belle and Suri.
Yeah.
There's that little, like, any little kids that come up and their parents are just so excited and the kids are so excited. It kind of also, because there's a lot of, like, competition and, you know, judging in the cosplay community as well. And so when you kind of go into it with a little bit of insecurity, possibly, having this kid just come up to you with, like, eyes for only you because you're like their favorite princess. You just that all goes away. So you're like that makes it worth it. Or it's like, oh, you know, my hem on my skirt's coming undone, or my makeup looks awful. But this little kid comes up and they don't see any of that. They see like Ariel, they see Belle or Merida. That's like, okay, you know, that's what the real prize is, I guess.
Or even the fact, like, when Maddie, you and I were Perry and Tinkerbell, like, I don't think that they cared that we weren't, like, this big, you know. Like,
actual fairies.
Actual fairies. They were just like, oh my god, you know. Even, I think it was last year when you and I went to Frozen, Disney on Ice, like, there was a little girl that came up and talked to me because she really believed I was Elsa. Because you and I did the Disney bound, and like she came up talking to me, and she's like, "You fell," and I was like, "Oh yeah, I'm okay." You know, like I just played with it. I was like, "Oh god."
At least she didn't tell you like, "Do ice magic."
Well, she did, but I was like, "Oh, I can't."
I lost my powers briefly when I fell. No.
I made an agreement. I can't make it snow here.
Yeah.
You know, it's like it's kind of that because I know that's how a lot of the cast members at the parks have to be really into character whenever they're, you know, whoever they're playing. Like they as soon as the costume's on, it's like bam, I have to be this character.
Yeah.
And like. So it's like also trying to keep that alive too, and we also cosplay them because I know that's like probably a big thing like Disney just has in general. It's like they want to make sure their name doesn't get ruined by people who dresses them outside of the parks, and then it's like I don't know, like Elsa like running crazy outside. And it's just like she wouldn't do that, you know. I don't know.
Elsa, calm down.
Yeah. She let it go too much.
Let it go.
Reel it back.
Come back some.
And so as cosplay has gotten more and more popular, notable examples, a TV show, and like a pattern and fabric line at Joann's.
Joann's itself.
Like I think I've heard.
Sorry.
Like I think I've heard like you know like common people say like.
Common.
Oh, are you guys cosplayers? Like,
you're like, what?
Like intrigued by the notion of like, hey, look, it's a cosplay. Like,
to your right.
Yeah. Well, simplicity. I mean, I don't know if they still call it cosplay now, like in their one coupon book or like their pattern book now specifically for cosplay. It's not cosplay anymore. It's just costumes.
I'm waiting for Joann's to coin the term cosplay, so that like no one else can ever use it without being. Fine.
Oh, jeez.
Just kidding. But I don't think that would happen.
No.
Anyway.
I don't know if they...
It's just
because they're just trying to take over the cosplay. Yeah.
Well, now the patterns are specifically, like, there is The Legend of Zelda, like, actual Zelda from...
But they can't call it Zelda. It's just like
is it not?
Elf Princess or something.
Yeah.
Generic.
Well, then there's the Black Butler one that I sent you a picture of. That's
the Sailor Moon one. But
yeah,
it's like off colors and.
I mean, if there's anyone that's more adamant about copyright than Disney, it's Nintendo.
You gotta protect that nostalgia property.
Yeah.
Even though it is becoming more like known. I still feel like I can't be like, oh yeah, my hobby's cosplay.
Yeah, people be like, yeah. People at work don't know I cosplay. I dress up on Halloween at work.
Yeah.
But they don't call it that.
A few people know that you do, right?
Well, like, one of my teammates, because she does it too.
Yeah.
And it's not like, it's like, I guess...
It's like a secret society.
Yeah.
You know who the cosplayers are, and you, like, wink at them across the room?
Yeah, or you, like, go into Joann's and you can kind of tell, and, like, you overhear how they talk, but I don't necessarily just go around telling people that I do it. Not like I'm ashamed of it, but just kind of, like, it's my thing. I don't have to put it out there.
Yeah.
Like,
Even if someone asks me what my hobbies are, I'm like, oh, well, you know, I'm in school right now.
Yeah. I have no hobbies.
I don't do anything.
Plead the fifth.
Because I do still think there's a negative connotation with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's still very niche.
Yeah.
But I mean, I feel like that still does come from the idea of like the basement dweller that like
Brainy.
And so like the kid who's like anime.
Oh no, my wife
and so
they got their body pillows.
Yeah, exactly. And so there's this perception of like the same with like gamers that if you play video games you have to be like the
35 living with your mom.
Yeah, exactly.
Stereotype.
And so for
Shadow finger.
Oh no.
And for someone to say like, "Oh, I love anime so much that I want to make the costumes and be the characters. I am this character.
Yeah.
You know, there is a level of
And
insanity that
I
comes
guess
from that.
to each their own, but yeah, that people do hold that kind of negatively. And then there's another form of negativity that comes with it, where if like especially for females, like people will take it like weird. I just leave it at that. Like, you know, they're like, oh, you know, sexy nerd girls. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They think it's either like weeb stuff or like weird
Overly
fetish stuff.
Overly risque for
Yeah.
this one character that's obviously not risque.
I'm a slutty version of Snow White. You
Yeah,
know,
and that's
stuff like that.
that's just been around just
in general.
essentially for like adult Halloween costumes.
Right.
And
True.
to like
Well, now
to be
little girl
100%,
costumes
yeah.
Yeah.
To be 100% honest, like that stuff does exist. There is sexual stuff of your favorite characters.
Everything.
Yeah.
And
if it,
so,
if it exists, it's there. Yep.
and so
Yuck.
that's another thing that you have to avoid if you are not that way.
Yeah.
And
Well, it's also like something I've really noticed, and this is what has caused me to be turned off to following certain cosplayers. It's like that's all that they market on is the overly sexified, like,
stuff.
yeah, like, let's just be real, like, you know, there's more boob shots of, like, their cleavage than there is of, like, maybe their craft, or, like, it's like the craft becomes second nature, or, like, it's second compared to, like, their actual physical form, and it's, like, I want to appreciate your craft more, but, like, when you're showing, like, more skin and stuff, like, it just becomes a distraction, and then, of course, stepping into that waters, it's like you're going to be calling that attention from followers, you know,
Yeah.
so it's just kind of like, that's what turns me off from certain cosplayers that I used to be into. And it's, I don't know, it's like, I don't know, it becomes a very, like, I get, like, some people like, oh, I really like how they do it, or then there are people that will agree, it's like, like, I wish you would just do the regular character without having to rely on,
Yeah.
like, sex or something.
Right.
I mean, what are some ways that we can make cosplay more appealing to, like, the common person that just has this perception of someone who does cosplay is a basement dweller?
I think, like, showing them, like, how much goes into making something. Like, oh, I did this from scratch, and then I dyed this fabric to get this effect, and I had to do this for 20 hours or whatever. This is made out of this. If they start to see it more as, like, an art form and a craft, like, if that's what you do, if you, like, make your cosplays primarily, then they put aside the, like, weirdness, quote-unquote, that people associate with it.
I think also the character probably helps, like,
Yeah.
if you, maybe, like, if you've done multiple and you don't start out with, like, oh, I cosplay, and then, like, because I got asked this by one of the girls I work with, like, while we were setting up the store, and, you know, I said, like, oh, I, like, sew for a living, you know, yeah. But, and she's like, oh, you sew, and she was like, what do you do? And I said, oh, I cosplay, and she's like, what do you cosplay? And I was like, I don't really do anime that much, but I do, like, Disney and stuff, and, of course, like, she immediately was just like, oh.
Yeah.
But, like, it's like, I think if you kind of ease your way into it, like, well, what's, like, something maybe everyone will know, like Disney, or, like, because it's a big thing out there for nerds, like Game of Thrones, you know, like, everyone knows Game of Thrones, so people are like, oh, that's cool, or, like...
I think people are more, well, maybe Americans are more receptive to cosplay when it's not anime.
Yeah.
Because if it's like an American property, maybe.
Yeah.
Because they're familiar with it.
Yeah, like,
Yeah.
if it becomes like, oh, I do anime, then that's probably when they immediately put, like, a negative, like, thought on it.
Which is so sad, because there's so much good anime out there that don't put it in a box, but I understand where that comes from, because it does exist. But yeah, if you're like, oh, yeah. Oh, if I wore Ariel to a kid's birthday party, they're like, oh, that's so cute, you're
Yeah,
so
exactly.
sweet. But like, if you're like, I did this anime person from this anime thing, they're like, freak.
Yeah.
So, which stinks, but...
Well,
there is
I mean-
a level of xenophobia that you just
Yeah.
have to be aware of.
It's weird. Like I one of the guys, like I love him to death, but one of the guys on my team is like, I hate anime. I don't want to know anything about it. It's stupid. I hate the style. But I'm just like forcing Cowboy Bebop on him, and he's gonna try it. But a lot of it with him, he says it does just come not from like xenophobia necessarily, but just being very prejudiced against it based
Yeah.
off of other experiences, the
Like,
negative stuff.
I guess even now, like,
So.
it wasn't anime, but I mean, we all kind of, more Cheryl than anything, I mean, she got a negative reaction just by being Marceline.
Yeah, like
And
it's-
that's not an anime.
Yeah, and I mean, it also just depends on the people you're around because you can be from like the most common thing and people still look at you like, why are you not dressed normal?
Yeah.
Or even just, like, walking out, like, because we've had experiences just Disney bounding, and people would look at us funny.
Yeah, like if you wear a wig at all, you're
Yeah.
instant target for like
Well, Lolita and Mori
Yeah.
Girl.
Exactly,
Lolita,
that
Mori
too.
Girl, yeah. If it's any sort of like not normal clothing, even if it's not cosplay, you'll get
Yeah.
that attention.
And I mean to drive it a little bit more deeper, that you guys are Christian, and what is it about this connection between, oh well, being a good Christian means dressing this way, that, you know, what is it about Christian and the fact that you guys cosplay and that it doesn't really matter?
Like it doesn't like bump heads.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it, for me personally, I guess it's all about like, I guess the modesty thing for sure is within my values, but it's kind of just like I look at it as a form of art. I don't actually think I'm becoming a character. Like I like to portray them, but I don't, you know, once I take it off, I know I'm Megan. I'm not like, I don't have this weird identity crisis thing. So it becomes just a hobby. It doesn't become anything really more than that necessarily. But it's also like, I've learned more and more that even if I'm into a show that's perpetuating things that aren't Christian value, quote unquote, that I can be a fan of it while still knowing that, oh, this I don't agree with this part of it, but I still really love it. I'm going to cosplay from it and portray that affection for the show. But so I guess my faith and cosplay don't really butt heads that much. There's been times when we've been at cons and there were street preachers there though, and that got awkward. Where people were like ganging up on him for being like a street preacher, and he was being hateful about it, but they were being equally bullying and hateful back to him. So
What does it
messy.
say in the
Yeah.
Bible that says you shouldn't do these things?
nothing really specific. Actually, I really wish I would have come prepared with the verse, but I was actually looking into it a couple months ago, and there's stories and parables in the Bible where they actually don not costumes, I don't call them, but they kind of change their appearance and whatnot for various reasons. I'm not going to try and quote it, but yeah. It doesn't say like specific stuff. It's more just about, I guess, modesty. And then, you know, don't turn it into an idol before God.
Yeah.
Like, you can't be like worshiping cosplay as your,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? So, because it
But-
becomes similar to any other hobby.
Yeah. And so how would we convince the person that is like, oh, those cosplayers over there, they put on the devil's costumes or whatever, like, how do you convince them that, like, you're not worshiping the devil, Maddie?
Right. I mean,
I don't think you can convince people because people are stubborn.
if they're going to be like that anyway,
Yeah.
you can walk by them and look at the floor the wrong way, and they're going to say you were talking to Satan. I don't know. Like, Cheryl is one of the most of faith people I know in my whole life, and she was the one that was told she looks like the most like a freak or something when she was Marceline, like Sable said earlier. So it's just like people will make that snap judgment about you regardless if they're going to talk to you that way.
I think it's just, like, in the end, like, you know, people can, like, dish all the bad stuff at us, but if we still just, you know, keep, like, our demeanor and still just be humble and still put on, like, a good face for them, like, yes, like, I can't sit here and say, like, it's not going to bother us. It will bother us. And, like, we'll talk about it later, but we'll do that behind closed doors when it's just only us, because we don't need to be like, oh, hey, like
Challenge them.
yeah. Or, like, yes, maybe we should have said something to the person that called out Cheryl or, like, anyone else, but it's, like, do it in a way that, like, I don't know, is like morally right or something, or like try not to bash them, but like maybe like correct them and be like, hey, like that's not cool, or like I don't know, just try and be Christian while you're doing it. Like, yes, like, you know, like being more modest is definitely one for appearance, but like personality wise, like don't go around being like doing all these bad things, or like overly openly cursing really loud while being like this really, you know, idle character or something.
Right.
You know, like I think like how you just present yourself helps.
I think too, like, you know,
Just be mature.
yeah. And the whole gospel of Christianity is about like grace, and if people treat you like that, you just have to treat them back with grace. And like it's hard because my instinct is to like glare or fight back, or because, you know, if they insult me or a friend, it's kind of like, why would you do that? But that's not the best like witness and testimony to that person in the moment. And especially if you're in a especially to other cosplayers, if you can give them that, you're kind of being a witness to them. Like when we pray before we did skits and stuff, I felt like that was a really, you know, anybody witnessing that would be like, oh, that's really cool. Stuff like that too.
Well, and going back to the street preacher at Acon, that was the second time we went. What year was that?
No, yeah, that was
Because
2012.
that was just the girls.
Yeah.
I
Going back
remember
to
that.
that, and I don't know if you remember, because like the whole time I was like, oh gosh, he's out here condemning everyone to hell, and everyone's yelling at him. I'm like, we're all in the wrong here.
There was even a guy
Everyone's
dressed as
wrong.
Jesus out there
Yeah.
too, coming out there and preaching, and it
And
was just
as we all know, there are the bad side to every group out there.
Exactly.
But what specifically I remember from that moment is that I, cosplaying as a Sami Sato, went up to the street preacher and laid my hand on him and I prayed for him. And then we walked away. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I do.
After we left and we were all bawling our makeup off.
Yeah, it was bad.
People came up to us and
they were asking us.
They were like questioning us. They were like, "Wow, what you did there, like showed me more than what that guy was doing."
Well,
And they just kept asking questions,
Yeah.
and we were just answering him, and it was just like humbling moments.
because he was
I don't
that guy
remember
was
that whole like experience was a blur. I think because that was whenever I was slowly like
you were still like
transitioning.
a baby Christian or not even. So
Yeah.
you were just like, what's happening?
I just remember being mad because I was just like, I don't know what to do. This is not right. Like, oh God.
well,
I don't know who I'm more mad at.
I remember just getting so emotional, and we were like all crying, and yeah, after that he was asking us like, why is it you're getting so emotional? And I just remember my main thought was, you know, in a community like cosplay, anime, whatever, everybody at some point when growing up probably got bullied for being different about it and ganged up on the exact same way that all of them were ganging up on this one street preacher. Like, I know he's condemning and he's not doing it correctly, but he was like by himself, and this whole mob of people were just slandering at him. And that's what upset me the most, because it was like, you know what? Is that necessary? Like, I know that he's frustrating you, but that's not responding the right way. Like, you're treating him exactly how you wouldn't want to be treated.
I remember going to one of Vic's like
Oh my
Sunday
gosh,
reflections,
yes.
and like the only like quote I remember from that was like when he was talking about, you know, if Jesus was in a con,
Yeah.
he'd be like, "Hey, I like your green hair.
Yeah.
That's really cool."
Yeah.
Like
And that's when we all started bawling again.
crying mess.
Yeah.
It was like a life-changing milestone for me, because that's when I realized, you know, I can connect my faith to things that aren't directly normally related to my faith.
So going back to the question, we can't change people's minds about it, but the way we portray ourselves not necessarily can change their minds, but can, like, whoa, there's something different about her.
They would change their own mind.
I refuse to think that people can't change their minds. There's just too much information that refutes that. But
Well, not
at
that they
least in my
can't
head.
change their minds, but I can't change your mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I agree that you don't approach fire with fire. And if you are built on a philosophy of love, then you can't just attack someone, because then you're just not using love.
Right.
You went on a Twitter rant recently, Megan, and I was like, anytime anyone does anything like that doesn't include love, that is just
Oh, the
us versus them,
Yeah.
is just wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And as soon as the street preacher is going, hey, this is me, I'm going to heaven, this is you, you're going to hell, like, that's immediately the wrong way to do it, because that it's all about love.
That was something that Vic also talked about in one of his videos. I think it was... Which con was it when we started viewing that? Was that at NakaCon this year? Like, that it went up?
Oh, yeah, that video.
Yeah, he like fought back a street preacher.
Yeah, like
Oh my
this
gosh.
this couple where they were saying like really positive thing, or not positive, negative things
Negative things.
on their sign, and he walked up to them, and like, we all know Vic, at least if you've ever met him, like he's, you know, he has so much love in his heart, and so like he went up to them and he just talked to them, and then like, yes, like progressively you did see him get more
He
and
was
more
yelling.
frustrated, but like you
They
could,
kept twisting his words.
Yeah.
they did, and it was like, I could see the frustration, and he was only just trying to prove like it is love. If you show these people love when they're out here and that's what they need love, they don't need fear, like then that's when you're gonna really see the word of God, like, you know, transcend and everything. And so it was like he was definitely trying to preach the right thing, but these people just weren't listening, you know. And it's hard, you know, even someone like Vic, who, you know, when we saw his Sunday thing at a ZumiCon years ago, the same one that you were talking about when he was talking about if Jesus was at a convention, like, you know, he had said like he's been Christian all his life, like he went to church ever since he was little and been in a church family, who's been a part of the actual church and all this kind of stuff. And so it's like he knows.
Yeah.
So it's like, I don't know, I think like as a Christian he is like a good role model to have in the anime community and the cosplay community as well, just because he is kind of that nice mixture.
Well, he's
Yeah.
also like one of the biggest voice actors, if not the biggest voice actor in anime.
Mm-hmm.
So
English wise, yeah.
yeah, English wise, yeah. English-wise. Like he voices everything.
Yeah.
So.
And I mean, he'll do characters that I know that aren't Christian, or like he'll be in shows that aren't Christian, and obviously like his characters will always be paired up with other like male characters. So I mean, like he's always around that.
He's Ren and Free, and that's like the gay swimming anime. But he's like so stoked about that role, but he got so much hate for being part of it because people are saying, you know, his philosophy is no homosexuality or whatever, but he's in this show that's this and this and this, and you know, going back to what I said earlier, like I feel like he kind of has the same mindset of he can still be associated and work within something, but separate, not separate, but like be mindful about it, like. He's not necessarily supporting. Yeah, he's not necessarily supporting it, but he's not like putting his faith on the back burner.
Yeah.
He's using it as like a catalyst to maybe put his faith, plant a seed in a different space. So if you avoided everything that your faith didn't agree with, you wouldn't.
We'd be under rocks.
Yeah, we'd stay inside all day. I don't know.
And it's still interesting how he's still even called a diva. And it's
Yeah,
just like,
I think it's
I
just
don't think-
people are haters. I mean, he may. Who knows? He could have some like ego because he's very like. Proficient within anime voice acting, but what I saw at that panel was who Vic was to me. So.
Yeah.
So I think that cosplay has been a positive influence on the community, either the anime convention community. Same with I know we don't participate as much in comic book cosplay, but I know that the people who participate in that, in the same way, or sometimes even more so, just because comics have a very different impact on people.
Yeah.
That cosplay has a very good influence on the people who are involved and the people who are around it. And so, I guess, to ask, what are some ways that cosplay is making the world a better place?
I think it promotes creativity and community with people you wouldn't normally go out and meet. Like, you know, if you see someone across the room that's from Sailor Moon and you're dressed as from Sailor Moon, it's like an instant bond. And you can just go to that person like, oh my gosh, we have to take photos together and let's meet up later and blah, blah, blah. REN, we met her solely through cosplay. We wouldn't have met her, I'm pretty sure, any other way.
The cupcake cosplay met that way.
Cupcake cosplay met that way. And they're like second in the world at one point in cosplay. So it's pushing creativity, it's promoting creativity. I think it's giving like all the kids that were kind of like bullied or outcasted like a platform to express themselves. Yeah. And that's really good for later on, you know, building their self-esteem to become creators of other things. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I will say, like, as you had said, like, if you see, like, another Sailor Moon cosplayer across the room and you're dressed as it, like, you immediately go over there. I'm actually the opposite, like, and I feel bad for it, but I think it's just my own awkwardness where I'm like, I'm not ready for that yet. Or it's just like...
It's like, it can be shyness, too.
Well, that, but it's also, like, I guess it's also just, like, an insecurity of, like, will they think that my costume's better than theirs, and they'll instantly just be, like, shade towards me or something, so it's just, like, I don't want to go near you kind of thing. But I think, like, that's, like, one of the downsides, but, for an upside... I think it's, like, allowing people to come, like, out more, like, again, like, a shy person can dress as a villain and, like, be, like, really loud and everything and, like, finally get to open up more and stuff like that and be something that they're not normally, like, kind of an escape but not really, but in a way, like, built, like, finding yourself in a way, like, through these characters, like, not you becoming that character, but, like, being like, oh, like, I got to be silly as, like, Pinkie Pie or something, and now, like, I feel more open or something, or I don't care what people think of me kind of thing, you know? It's kind of like they bring out the better side of you without you having to actually be that character.
Yeah.
Outside, like, once you take off the costume, like, I'm, like, you know what I mean?
Right. Like, you cosplayed Pinkie Pie, but you're not, like, Pinkie Pie personality all the time.
No.
Me either.
No.
Are you kidding? Excuse me.
I think for me it's community, because when I stop and think about it, I'm like, all my friends I met through conventions and cosplay. So I'm like, well, if there wasn't cosplay, then I wouldn't have friends. No, I'm kidding. I would have different set of friends.
Yeah.
And for me, I think that all the reasons that you guys have said, that allowing people to break out of their sort of shyness, like, oh, these are the things that I like, and if I tell someone else I like these things, then, you know, they'll just judge me. And, you know, whenever you are in a gathering that literally everyone else is there, like, because they like these things, then it allows you to just, at least for a few days, to just let go and be like, I'm not the weird person anymore.
Yeah.
I'm not the outcast anymore. I am one with my people.
I have arrived. My garbage home.
And so,
that's true, though.
and yeah, it is a community. It is, you know, as soon as you see someone, like, with the giant dress or whatever come in, but then she's, like, going down the stairs and, like, a bit of her dress gets stuck on the stair, you'll see, like, 4 or 5 people, like, run over and be like, oh my gosh, help! And, like, you know, regardless of, you know, whether they're doing it because I want to be near this pretty girl, or, like, because, like, I know what that trouble is, like, I've been in the big dress, too.
It's like, your pleats look so good, they can't get torn.
Yeah. And so you get this whole open community of people being like, I love your thing, like, I love this thing, you're doing this thing well,
I want... Kindred spirits. Yeah.
And so it's something that we get to enjoy our media and then express it outwards, too. So I think that we can make the world a better place with cosplay.
If anything, we'll make it a nerdier place.
I mean,
but hopefully.
May I, like, turn it the other way? Like, while it's really good that we have the community, like, we still have our problems, though.
Yeah.
that's like always going to be
The
there.
community does.
Yeah.
Yeah. That is very true.
But as long
But we're
as
learning.
Yeah.
But as long as we focus on why we do it, because you will see like some people that are just like store-bought cosplay, like I said earlier, like
I'm elitist.
yeah. But you'll also see people who go, well, we're all cosplaying because it's fun. We're not cosplaying because we want to be better than you.
I'm a nerd that bought my cosplay. You're a nerd that made your cosplay.
Yeah.
We're all nerds in cosplay.
And to be honest, you enjoy it more if you're just like, hey man, this is fun.
Yeah.
As opposed to like, look at these scrubs over here with their terrible cosplays. I look magnificent.
Peasants.
Like, you'll spend much more time just like being negative about other people than you will just enjoying yourself.
Yeah.
So I mean, at the very least, it allows people to enjoy what they enjoy. Since we live in a world that has just been throwing media at us just 24/7, at least we're allowed to go, I like this. This is me.
Yes.
So with that, going down the row this way, what do you have to plug, if you have anything to plug?
I don't have anything to plug.
Send her prayers and good thoughts because she's a nursing senior. That's her plug.
Senior.
Do you have a cosplay page on Facebook anymore?
No.
Okay.
Solstice Cosplay.
Yeah, follow Solstice Cosplay on Facebook, on YouTube.
Slowly getting all the things
Yeah.
up.
Megan, what do you got?
What? I have cosplay page Monarch Star, capital MONARCH dash capital STAR, and then a Twitter Monarch Star, Instagram Monarch Star. You can find me Monarch Star everywhere.
YouTube. That's where
YouTube.
all of our videos and our cosplays are at the moment.
On my slideshows. That's pretty much it. I don't really do anything super professionally, but I have my photography page that's under construction called Lucid Star Photography.
No.
Yeah.
I like the name there.
I need to
That's it.
change all of the things on my website from Shutter Blur now to Lucid
It should
Star.
change it automatically.
No, because I typed it and manually
I
hyperlinked
thought you were
it.
talking. Oops, sorry. I'm a
It's okay.
troublemaker.
I mean, I'm still giving you free publicity, so I don't mind. Sable, what do you got?
I'm currently trying to decide what I'm doing with my Facebook page. You can find me on Instagram at Painted Crow Artistry. Just type that up. You'll find me on there. You'll find a little bit of everything. Personal, cosplay,
All artistry.
art, all the fun stuff.
Faces.
Faces.
Yeah.
Clues. Friends.
We're all
Nerdy
artists
life.
and stuff, so there's fun visual media to enjoy. I'm Santiago Ramones. You're listening to Bit Depth.
Plus podcast.
Yeah.
Podcast.
You can find everything that I do on my website, santiagoramones.com. And before I wrap up, there's at least another thing that I want to go around the circle with, which is, what advice do you have for people at all? Go.
Within cosplay or in general?
Just in general. Go for it.
Goodness, that's that's huge.
That's bit depth. Anyway.
I guess, don't wait to do things. If there's something you want to do, you need to put your whole heart in it and do it.
Do more. Go after more.
Yeah.
That's a good one. Mine would be, it's going to be really cliche, but be yourself. I've met all my best friends and am so much happier just by choosing to be myself, because there was a phase in my life where I hid a lot of who I was to try and be with the people I wanted to be around, and it wasn't worth it. So if you just stay genuine to who you are, the right people will come to you. It's like magnetic. So do that.
Sable, what do you got?
It's really deep.
Gosh.
Or at least
prepped
just a
us
message
first,
that you want people to get.
Just love one another. Like, have fun with what you do. I mean, we're all a bunch of nerds that just love what you do. But also just be mature about it. Because the one thing I've always remembered, it's always stay true, it's like first impressions are always the big impact. So, you know,
It's very true.
just be you, but be the you that you want people to see.
Yes.
Santiago.
And, yeah. For
What do you have to
me,
say?
you know, I say this all the time. I say it at the end of every podcast.
I know what it is.
Yeah, it's love never fails. It's going to be okay. I might be wrong. Thanks for listening. Bye.
Bye.